All right, once you've cast on enough stitches that you think you're going to have a wide enough piece of knitting for whatever project you're working on, then the fun begins. Now's where we start actually growing the project. So to knit your stitches, it's going to be very similar to what you would do when you're still casting on the stitches, except the last step is going to be different. So here's what you do to make a knit stitch. You put it through the front to the back, just like you would if you're casting on, loop it over like you would, pull it back through the front just like you would if you were casting on, but then instead of pulling it all the way out and putting it back on the needle, you're going to slip it up and off, and you're going to slip that back stitch off. So I'll do that again so that you can see how that works. You loop it over, pull it through, and you slip it off. And that way you are moving the stitches over to your right hand needle. And as you do that, it starts tying knots with the yarn and growing your project bit by little bit. So I'm sure this is moving a little quickly, but I'll slow it down for you too. Let's do that one more time. Needle through the front to the back, just like that. And pretty soon you're at your very last stitch, and you do the exact same thing with the last stitch that you did with the others, and you slip it all off. And look at that, there's no more stitches on your left needle. They've all been moved over to the right needle. So what do you do after you finish that first row? Easy. You switch hands. You take the empty needle, put it back in your right hand, move the full needle to your left hand. And again, remember, you want to ignore that tail of yarn. You're not going to use that till the very end. You're going to want to move your stitches so that they're nice and comfortable wherever you want to hold them. And make sure that whatever you do, you keep all of the knots from your previous rows growing out of the right hand side of the needle. If your knots are twisted around this way, your project is going to end up lumpy and messed up, and you might actually end up adding extra stitches on accident. So keep your knots facing this way. And then to start your next row, you just do exactly what you did before. Through the front, loop it over, to the back and off. Front to back, loop it over, back to the front, pull it off. And pretty soon, you will be absolutely flying. Just like this. All right, and then let's slow that down for you a little bit so that you can see again what to do in this next row. Just like that. Front to back, loop it over, pull it back through, slide it off. Easy peasy. And before long, you'll settle into a rhythm and won't even have to think about this. And look at that, 2 rows done, and you can see the project is starting to grow. All right, we'll come back in just a moment and learn how to cast off your stitches once your project has grown enough that you're ready to do that.